Hey, let's get into it. You know that moment when your computer or your phone or your device is lagging? It's going slower than you want it to, and you tap the screen and nothing happens. So then you tap it again and again and again, and then all of a sudden it catches up and it opens three or four things you didn't mean to open, and then your frustration level goes from 0 to 10 in just a moment. And it's such a small thing, but it shows how quickly our impatience can take over when something as simple as our phone doesn't move at the speed that we want it to. Those sort of things, like maybe it's when someone else doesn't respond the way that we hope they would. How does that instantly change our emotional state? Does it drive our anger and our frustration? Maybe when a plan changes, when one of your children pushes that same button over and over again, or maybe when your spouse says something with the wrong tone. What does it stir kind of instantly in you? And before we really have a chance to think about it, our anger is driving the bus. And Proverbs wants to speak to that reactivity here. Proverbs 14:29. Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly. It's a simple verse, but it cuts deep. Notice what Proverbs doesn't say. The Bible doesn't say that anger is always sinful. Listen, there are things in our world that should grieve us, that should stir up those emotions. There are injustices that should bother us. There are wrongs that we can't ignore. But Proverbs is pressing on something a little bit different here. It's asking, how quickly does your anger take the wheel? It says, whoever is slow to anger has great understanding. And listen, slowness is not weakness. It isn't passivity. It's not pretending like something is fine when it is obviously not. Slow anger means that there's like this space between what happened and how you respond. There's some room to process, to think, to pray, room to ask, hey, what is really going on here in me? Room to consider whether your initial impulse was wise. And the second line says, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly. Um, a hasty temper doesn't just make a small mistake, it lifts folly up, meaning it puts our foolishness on full display. When anger moves too quickly, it usually sees less than we think it sees. We assume motives. We exaggerate the offense. We forget mercy. We say things that may take 5 seconds to speak, but might take us 5 years to repair. And here's where we need the gospel, because Jesus is not just slow to anger as like a technique. He's slow to anger because he's full of mercy, truth, patience, and love. He sees fully, he knows truly, and still he's patient with us. And that means when we're learning to be slow to anger, we're not just learning better emotional management. We're being formed to reflect the heart of God. Today, pay attention to that gap, that space that exists between the thing that frustrates you and the response that comes out of you. When your anger rises up, don't pretend that it's not there, but don't hand it the keys either. Pause, breathe, pray, and ask God for understanding before a reaction. Because sometimes the wisest thing you can do is not answer faster, it's to become slow. Like the phone screen that starts opening everything because it was tapped too many times too quickly. Our life can get messy when every frustration gets an immediate response. Wisdom slows down, takes a beat, and prayerfully reflects before reacting. So wherever you find yourself, God goes with you today.